Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leroy's Tea, where I share the tea of all things positive. Today, as part of my interview series, my chat series, I have invited a very, very dear friend and a young woman who is the founder of Empowered Parenting. She has a website that's under her name, Supriya Raja, and supriyaraja.com. And I want to welcome my friend here. And thank you so much for joining me, Raja, or Supriya, sorry. It's such a beautiful experience to have you here. You have been—
Thank you so much, Leroy.
Yeah, you've been such a wonderful friend, and people will discover that you and I have connections in the coursework. Yes. But could you share a little bit about Empowered Parenting and what that experience is like?
Sure. So this empowered parenting came about during the pandemic, when the entire world went into a lockdown. At least me staying in India, we had a complete lockdown. And so I have been working as a background. If you just talk about my background, I'm a special education teacher, and I was working in an NGO called Prayatna for quite some time as a special education teacher, working with children with learning disabilities like dyslexia and mild to moderate autism, etc. So what happened was, it was obviously an offline intervention, remedial intervention, where it was done one-to-one. But when the pandemic happened and the country went into a complete lockdown, we were forced to go online. So 2-3 months into the online space, my director was not very comfortable with this. At the same time, she wasn't sure when the country would go back to normal, when the whole thing will get better. So she took a very big decision, a huge decision, to shut the entire organization down. We had 3 centers, one in my city, that's Chennai, where I live, and 2 centers in another city called Bangalore. So she made a big decision to just shut them all down, because she wasn't sure how long we could do this, and whether it will affect the business in general. Okay. Though it was tough, we had just had to abide by that. So me, along with my other co-workers, we decided to continue online like a freelancer. So what happened in that situation was that there were many parents who contacted me saying that we wanted, who would help us. We are helpless. We want someone to help us. So I continued doing, as a freelancer, the same thing online. But one thing I realized was, I just had only X amount of energy. That is because it is one-to-one. That's I can just take a couple of students per day. I can't stretch myself beyond that. Then I thought, why not teach parents the same thing that I'm doing, what secrets I'm adopting, and I'm able to generate results for my children. What is it that's in me that is able to get those results? Why not teach the same thing to the parents and empower them and help them to get their kids to improve their literacy skills? Then I was thinking, what is it that I want to focus on? Then I realized that during my tenure in the organization, working very closely with children, I realized that children who are exposed to print from a very young age, like if they were read to as 3-year-old, 4-year-old, or 5-year-olds, they were much better in terms of absorbing school content, in being able to have much easier school years, whether they were in primary or whether they were even in middle school years. It was so much more easier for a child who was introduced to reading vis-a-vis someone who was not. So I thought, okay, this is one thing I can definitely do for parents immediately, is to help them and what are the nuances that they need to adopt. It's not just about reading to your child, but there's a lot more that goes beyond it. One is the parental mindset. A lot of parents have a lot of resistances, like, I don't have the time, my children don't listen to me, I'm too tired, end of the day, or this is not my big priority, I'll rather focus on my career, this is just not a big thing, just reading to a child is not a big thing. There are a lot of resistances that parents have. So that is something that I thought has to be broken, and also implant the right mindset along with teaching them the skill set that will be requiring to inspire their child to be interested in reading, first of all. Without an interest in reading, the child isn't going to read. You can't force anyone to do something without an interest, right? So I thought, why not start from the fundamentals? So that's how I started planning to do in a form of a course. Now, again, the next thing was like, do I need to coach them one-to-one like this, like a live session, or do I need to have a product? I wasn't very sure.
Okay.
Around that time, I managed to stumble on a business coach called Sudha who was actually training coaches and teachers and trainers to have their own courses and like a digital coach, and bring it to the world in each of their own nuances, each of their own niche, whatever the niche, to get into, to create those digital courses for their market. So that's when I thought, okay, why not I do something like this through this model? And I got to learn the technical part, because if it's going to be digital, I need to learn the digital tools, right? So I learned the technical part of recording videos, understanding what's a payment gateway, how to connect my course, my teachable course, to an email marketing system like a ConvertKit, all those the technical things. And then I launched this course along with my website, so that my parents who would be helped by my course to be able to find me. That's how this whole thing came about of empowered parenting. So my mission is to actually empower 1 million parents to inspire their children to be curious readers, because that is the fundamentals.
Absolutely. And it's so beautiful because in my previous experiences, I was a part of an organization through a church that I was a part of, which is a Detroit Unity, and it's a part of an organization that's Unity Worldwide Churches. And what it is, it's a religious organization that accepts all faiths. So, I mean, we have everybody that would come to speak at our church. Like Deepak Chopra has been there, just all kinds of people. And one of the things that our group was involved in was a thing called Real Men Read. And then they had a thing called Real Women Read. And what we would do is we would go to different neighborhood schools, and we would get invited there, and we would read in front of a group of students. And these beautiful young children were so tickled by that. I've discovered that children love being read too. And then to have them to experience that connection with their parents, to sit with them and read with them. It's such an uplifting experience. And it's fun, it's joyful. And I think it helps, like you said, it helps children to have better cognitive skills, being able to interact with their lives in a much more clear way. So you're not being overtaken by another individual or by a view of society or whatever. You're able to think more clearly, it's the word I'm looking for, more constructively. So, so you end up having a better life in general.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it has been proven that most successful people do read, because reading is something where, yes, parents, or I'm sure many of us do have this concept that bookish knowledge is not everything. I understand everything bookish is not everything. You need to have real-time experiences. And it is good if you can take your children traveling, because many parents do that. They'll take them traveling either within the country or outside the country, which is an excellent thing. I do understand that. But having said that, you cannot negate information by reading, information through books. And especially if you're able to read and get your child exposed to a wide genre of books, you are actually implanting the thought that learning is amazing, reading is fun, reading is not a chore. And you're actually putting them onto the pathway of being a lifelong learner, which is so essential if you want your child to be successful, or anyone to be successful for that matter. They got to be a student for life, right?
Exactly.
So this is one way to get a child to be curious about life. That's why I said I want the kids to be curious readers, because that is one thing. Curiosity is one thing that children have innately. And when you tap into that curiosity, automatically a lot of things get sorted.
Yeah, very true. And it's interesting too, because in the experience of reading, it brings you to a calmer space, because you're taking information in at a slower pace. Sometimes we get so attracted to things on the internet and
Absolutely.
TikTok and Instagram and all that, and that's fine. But it's given it such a harsh, fast pace. It doesn't allow you to come into those moments of stillness, which is where all your power is. And so
you
then,
said it right.
Yeah, so being in that reading experience actually brings you into those calmer spaces. And it also inspires creativity, it inspires imagination, and which goes a long way as children become adults, because then they become better problem solvers, which is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. You nailed it, which is so true.
Yeah.
And also it has been noticed that children who spend hours in front of cell phone, because this is one problem which is happening of this young generation, that they are so much addicted to cell phone. It has been observed and it has been documented that children who are exposed to cell phone for a long duration, it impacts their ability to concentrate, their attention, the brain is impacted along with their eyesight. So they do have a lot of attention issues. It does damage the brain in some way or the other. Yeah. And like you said,
No. I was just going to add, because what it does is it puts a certain amount of stress on the individual person who gets really tied up into that kind of technology, because it doesn't offer a space within you to be able to discover your joy, to be able to discover who you truly are, because it's always this now kind of thing.
Yes.
But it's done without any real intelligence or care or even love, because a lot of what gets shared on social media platforms is usually very attackful, it can be kind of mean-spirited. And then you end up absorbing all of that. You begin to consume all of that, and it becomes a very negative experience for you. So
yes, very true.
So yeah,
yes,
I'm glad you were doing this. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
So I thought, like, why not catch children young and groom them young? And in this way, the bigger mission would be, a bigger picture, if you look at it, is it brings families together, right? When you read together, you also stay together. It's like when you eat together, you stay together. It's a similar concept. When you read together as a family, you also stay together. It builds the family again, and it cements the relationship. Otherwise, you see, even at the dinner table, everybody are having their cell phone. All of them are just scrolling through each of their own cell phones. There's not much conversations happening around even the dinner table.
Yeah, and it does. It creates a very, very intimate connection. And creates an atmosphere of love when you do that, because you're supporting one another on a spiritual level when you do that. So yeah, it's such a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what many people do not know, Supriya and I are very good friends. We met one another through Kartik and Nara's programs in Synchroshakti Academy. We are both students of the Living in Freedom program, which is a mindfulness program. And I so love the community that I have been able to be a part of. For those who are wondering whether this conversation is going, there is this empowering sense of being able to connect to people of different cultures, to understand how other people lived, and to experience the joy of those personalities. So often we get our information based on what somebody else thinks. So instead of that, if you were able to connect into a community, and especially an international community, or if you can do world travel, it is such a beautiful, beautiful thing, because you connect in such wonderful ways. And that's one of the things that I was so joyful about being in the Living in Freedom program, And of course, meeting you, because I had heard so many of your positive stories. It always brought me so much light. And I was glad to be able to share the way that I have, to try to uplift other people as well. Being that coaching is something that I'm interested in going into. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The community of Synchroshakti is very vibrant, right? And
Very.
every day there's someone posting either a success story or some kind of, they want some kind of hand holding, but there's always, the support system is always there. And that's something I really loved about Synchroshakti. And like you said, it is an international community, and we get to know about each other's culture, each other's way of the different perspectives that each of us have.
Mm-hmm.
Having
Yeah.
said that, one thing I realized that no matter where you are from, whichever part of the world you are, there are certain things which are very common, right? We all
There
have
are.
our hopes, our dreams,
Exactly.
and the love for family. It's all there for all of us.
Mm.
Yeah, which is universal anyways.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're very much connected to one another too.
Yeah.
It was so funny for me, when I first joined, because I'm not going to say I know everything about Indian culture, but I've learned quite a lot being with all of the students there, because so many of them are from the country of India. And it's true, not everyone in that community is just from that location, because I've met people from Australia, from Japan, from China, from Canada, from Alaska, places in Africa. And it's such a beautiful experience, and it is so enriching and so empowering. And it's a very, very powerful thing. And what was your experiences like when you first got into Living Your Freedom and the whole community? How did that go with you?
Okay, I must say it has been a life-changing experience for me. So if there's someone who is wanting to look into mindfulness as an option, definitely they must plunge into this, because this has been truly, truly a game changer for me. Because who I was before I enrolled in this course and I started practicing mindfulness, meditation, and mindfulness through the day as a practice, it has completely, it has brought a lot of changes in me. Yes, I still have a long way to go. I'm not saying I'm perfect,
Right.
but, and there are days when I do fall back, I do spiral downwards, but at least I know what I should do. I'm not lost. So when I started out Kartika's course, I enrolled in 2018 December, because that's when she launched the digital product as a do-it-yourself kind of a product, like where you say, no, it's pre-recorded videos. Prior to that, she was doing live coaching, which I didn't join back then because it wasn't some of the timings weren't really suiting me at that point. But I was hoping that she would probably do something like this, where there are pre-recorded courses where we could do at our own pace, where we can go back and forth with the course and look again and relook at the concepts and review the concepts again. Fortunately for us, yes, she did just that. And coming back to Kartika, how I found her was through a video of hers in, I think, August 2018, which was a Ho'oponopono video. At that time, I was finding this whole name very funny. What is this Ho'oponopono? I've never heard prior to that.
Right.
So when I did click into the video and started watching her, something about her was drawing me to her, because I found her to be very simple and very authentic and very genuine. She wasn't trying to be like many of those YouTubers, like, coming, being very aggressive and asking us to get into their channel, get into subscribe. It wasn't that, she didn't have that kind of energy. She had a very relaxed energy. It's like, I could connect with her as a consumer of YouTube, of those videos. And I felt something very authentic about her. So I did not yet get into her community, or at that time she just had a Facebook group, free Facebook group. I didn't get into that. I watched one more video of hers, which was about some water technique, where you'll have to set some intention into water, and then you see some manifestations happening. So that's when I thought, yeah, this is get into the community and see what's going on. So I got into her community, and that time she was having some assignments that we could do some free assignments, and she was doing some free live classes once in a week. That's when I got introduced to the concept of what mindfulness may be, though I didn't get into her live coaching yet. But it was only when she launched the digital product as a product, that's when I got into it. And I'm glad I did, because that was truly, truly very, it was a very, it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And yes, I have been pretty sincere. I continue to be a very sincere student. I do practice mindfulness meditation, and I do practice mindfulness through the day as much as possible. And as and when pain body, what, those kind of negative thoughts come up, I do try to exercise those practices.
Of course.
And yes, to a good extent, things have changed for me. I was someone who used to be very reactive. No, I wouldn't think, pause, and then respond. I used to be someone who used to react. I was pretty dramatic, I must admit. But after practicing mindfulness, yes, all those things have come down. Though yes, like I said, it is a journey, it is a process. You just get better and better, and there is always room for improvement. But yes, I'm someone who responds to a situation rather than immediately instantly react. I respond. And when like how she says, when we have a negative, someone who's shouting at us, initially I just answer back, I just react instantly. Now I'm like, I observe what's happening in my body, what kind of reactions are coming up. I observe that, and when that settles down, then I respond.
Exactly.
So things are much better. I feel more grounded, I feel more rooted. A lot of changes in me also as a person, and I'm able to make better decisions. As a person, I was someone who was emotionally very dependent on people. That's another thing that I saw as big change in me. I used to always go to people for answers, as though I couldn't trust myself. But now I go within for answers, and I trust my decisions. I take decisions. I trust myself, and I do take decisions.
Okay.
Many of them do turn out correct.
Yeah, and that's the thing about that particular program and about mindfulness in general. It's not so much that you do it for a period of time and then you set it aside. It becomes part of your lifelong experience, and it works out really, really well.
What was your learnings? How did it help you?
I'll tell you, because when I first discovered Kartika, actually I discovered her through her music videos, because she was a musical performer at a period of time. And I can remember leaving positive comments on her channel, which is something I always do. And then I was going through a series of circumstances where I was feeling depressed and everything. And it was one of her videos that was like this real beautiful rant where she was talking about being inspired to be you. And it was a two-part video, and it was posted a couple of years ago. And in that, there was so much joy in what she expressed. There was so much passion and compassion in her talk. And I mean, I'm listening to her talk, and I mean, like, tears are coming out of my eyes as I'm listening to this woman. And not from sadness or anything. I just felt so much joy as I heard her speak. And then
at some point, you could also connect that the thing of I can feel you. I know what you were trying to say. I can feel you. You could relate to what she was saying as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it is so funny because as things evolved, I mean, her and I have become friends, which who becomes friends with your coach, right? And that just happened to evolve on its own. And she told me sometime later, she says she remembers the messages I had left on her music channel, when she was doing that part. And she used to wonder, who was this white guy flirting with her from the US? But then after she saw some of my other messages, she began to see something in me. And she even told me later that she had hoped that I would join their community and join the courses, and not so much for the financial gain as she would get from that, but she saw something in me. She saw that that connection that she felt would be very, very worthwhile. And it's being in this amazing community of people, and there is so much love and so much joy and so much support. And she created that atmosphere, that platform. And I have to tell you, I mean, everyone I've interacted from the different countries that I've seen, you know, everyone wants me to come to their home when I do world travel. You know, I'm going to set you up in our house. I'm going to feed you. I'll take you wherever you need to go. I mean, I have like a community of like 1,000
actually
people
found a
out there.
virtual family. You have found a virtual family, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I would not have discovered that had I not taken the risk to go ahead and find out what this was about. And then also to work on my own healing, because, you know, there were things that I needed to work through. And that whole experience has been so amazing. And I've been in it since October 2019. And I just now discovered, well, I discovered this a couple of weeks ago, that I guess, you know, like what you were saying, her digital courses didn't actually start launching until recently when I had joined. And that created a series of events of the connections I made with other people. And then discovering that the positive words that I was sharing with others and sharing my experiences, because a lot of the healing comes from the stories that we share. And
True.
to receive the kind of responses that I got back, you know, as people have told me that I've helped them, people have told me I have healed them, people have told me I have sort of ignited their journey to go deeper into whatever it was they needed to do. And I'm getting all this information. I'm like, I did that, you know. And
awesome.
yeah,
That's what, like I've said, I always tell you do make a great coach yourself. You do touch people's lives, so you should get into that. Yes, definitely.
absolutely.
Yes, because you have that in you to somewhere. You strike a chord with people, and you are very authentic yourself. You like you said, you want to help. You know, you're there when someone puts. I always see when someone posts something online that I'm struggling with this. I'm so down. You're always there to cheer the person. The first person I see is you jump and you cheer the person. I mean, it makes a huge difference to their lives. And after a couple of days they post, I remember they post tagging you saying that, Leroy, you really changed my life, you know. And that's amazing. Seriously, you have that kind of commitment to actually genuinely want to help someone. It's amazing.
And
you should get into that.
Right. And what's so interesting about that experience, and it's something I wanted to share, as you know, the first thing is it comes out of me so naturally. I'm not even thinking about it. It's like, you know, I hear somebody's story or I hear somebody's concern, and it's like something in me takes over, and it's like, yeah, share this may be of help. Because I think I view it in terms of how would I feel if that was happening to me? And a lot of the experiences that other people have had are connected to what we all go through. I mean, we've all have gone through things that have been very stressful, you know, different experiences that we've had, and all on different levels. But my point to all of this is, anytime that I have been able to help them or raise up somebody, I'm healed too. So it's
like a catharsis, right? You call that a catharsis?
Yeah. It's this amazing exchange of energy and joy that happens when you're in these experiences. And this is one of the reasons, and I know a lot of people who have come to my channel and they're probably wondering, you know, why is this guy always talking about people from India? And obviously I'm open to anyone who wants to come and have an interview with me. But that connection has been so very, very strong, because there is that sense of I'm sharing with someone, but at the same time, they're sharing back with me, and it's almost 1,000 times more than what I have shared with them. And that's been the beautiful experience about this. And yeah, and that's why. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's why so many times when you and I have shared messages with one another, I always feel so joyful. I always feel so uplifted. The
Thank you
way
so
that
much.
you share has brightened up my day. I mean, there have been times when I was like, I'm not sure what to do with this one little piece of something. And then you will tell me something. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So
Thank you so much.
yeah. So, I mean, it is a shared journey for sure. So,
Yes, absolutely. It's
yeah,
been, we've been in this community for like 2 years now, for me, more than, a little more than 2 years. Yes.
it has been. Yeah, yes,
And
going on 3. Yeah.
it's amazing. It continues to get better and better.
It really
And
does.
with newcomers coming and and many of them becoming again our friends. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
also have our own, like, another group where we initially wanted to volunteer.
Yeah,
Me
right.
and you and what Nitika, all of the, we also wanted to volunteer, and we also have formed our own very warm bonding there also in that group as
Exactly.
well. Yeah,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
nice. It's amazing. And I know that suppose tomorrow I have something which is disturbing and I come and I post. I remember, like, I've done that once or twice, something I was really concerned about, and I posted it in our small group, on our smaller group. All of you just pounce and Supriya, things will just go fine, it'll be fine. And you feel like, oh yes, I have someone, like that. I have people who are, at my back. They are supportive. They are there for me. You feel that sense of support
You
always.
you really, really do. And it's such a sweet experience too. Um, one of my desires is to do world travel, and
You
however
should,
that
you
works
should
out, I'll find out. And
come to India.
exactly, and you and I had talked about this previously. I would probably have to stay there a month or two, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, you will need at least definitely that much time, because it's a vast country. It's so diverse,
It is.
and
Yeah.
it might be a little overwhelming initially for you, but it'll be an adventurous experience,
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
say the least.
Mhm. There's a young woman in our group. Her name is, I think it's Karma DE. She has a YouTube channel as well. One of the things that she does is she does book for international travel,
Okay.
and she lives in the foothills of the Himalayas. So she's at the very, very northern part of India.
Hmm.
And this is, I think the region is called Bhutan, if I remember correctly. And this is the region that,
Okay, Bhutan is not part of India. It's a separate country.
right? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly the
Just at the
same,
foothills of, it is part of Himalayas, of course, but it's a
right?
kingdom. It's a kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah. But I so love their culture idea, because um, they view they view their society on how everyone feels. So like in our country, they measure things by, I think, like gross national product, which is, like how we sell things, how commerce is going. In
Okay.
that part of their country, they measure the success of the country by the level of happiness. So
Exactly. In fact, I
yeah,
did, just to add on to what you are saying, I did watch a documentary where Bhutan is ranked as one of the most happiest countries in the world.
exactly. And it's such a beautiful land. I mean, it's cold. A
Yeah, it's beautiful.
lot
It's
of
so beautiful.
mountains, and yeah, but
That
it's
is also in Bhutan is in my bucket list as well. I would definitely love to visit. It's so beautiful. And yes,
yeah.
it is in the Himalayas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's interesting, when I was much younger, when I was about 6, 7, or 8, I used to draw pictures all the time. And I would draw pictures of mountains and trees and lakes and snow areas, and then little houses and buildings on these mountains. And part of my family background, my mother was from Finland, which is connected to Sweden and all those countries. And it wasn't until I became an adult that a lot of the pictures I was drawing was actually images from Switzerland. So I don't
Wow.
know if there was some kind of,
You might just visit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of connection we make with nature that we sometimes aren't always aware of. And it really shocked me when I saw actual images of Switzerland later on down the line, because I thought, God, I used to draw these same pictures. So you
Yeah.
just never
You
know.
might just make the trip. Yeah. It might just manifest very organically, very naturally. Yeah, it might just
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, and that's just the way that we connect with our spirit, and
Yeah.
the
And
energy that
also
we.
because we are also in this practice of mindfulness, like Kartika says, you don't have to separately, I think, practice law of attraction. The fact that we are practicing mindfulness and bringing the presence with, we are, whatever we have presence in us, but it's getting stronger, strengthening our own presence. That by itself, by the strengthening of our own presence, we can draw upon us the things that we really want without
Mm,
getting into this unnecessarily into too much of tools and techniques. I remember
right.
Kartika saying in one of her own, I think during one of our uh, Facebook live sessions with her,
Mhm.
she did mention that she has manifest things very easily, and even I have, I think, done that too. Without getting too much into the law of attraction tools, just with the power of our own presence, raising the
Exactly.
vibration, raising our own, strengthening our own aura, we draw things upon us that we really want. You know.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Because what that is when you come into those spaces where you can be calm, we can be relaxed. I know I shared this with you before, but um, one of the ways that I do this is um, I put myself in nature as much as I can. It might be 3 or 4 minutes a day. Sometimes I can do it for an hour. And so how this works is as I'm going into these spaces, and I just observe everything. I observe the trees, the plants, the flowers, if there's any there. I observe the sky, people walking by. I'll observe, because we have a lot of animals in our area. We have like deer and skunk and raccoons and squirrels. And I mean, it's a whole zoo of animals that walk through here. And so what's going on is you stop thinking. You just
Exactly.
turn off.
You are in the present, complete in the present moment, and you are in stillness at that
Exactly,
point.
exactly. And you're just watching everything. And you don't even bother labeling it. You don't say, well, that's a tree I'm looking at. That's a animal I'm looking at. You're just there. And
Mm.
then you're breathing all of this in as you're in these spots. And the value to all of this is when you come into those spots of calm, when you come into those spots of clarity and stillness, all of those desires that you have within you, the divine God, whichever word you want to use, has already heard those requests and
Mm.
is willing to deliver that to you as long as we release that resistance and come into that state of allowing. And
Wow.
that's the value of being in those calm spaces. And so it's not so much that mindfulness helps you to do law of attraction, because we're attracting things all the time. We just don't realize it. But in the state of mindfulness, in the state of that calm, you open that door and it's like the lights just light up for you and giving you a path to follow. And
Wow.
yeah, and that's the experience I'm having about entering into this field of coaching. I had a
Amazing.
beautiful.
Just now you have answered my one question, which is in mind. How does this exactly work out the whole? How does this work? Because Eckhart says the same thing that you said right now. Eckhart
Exactly.
says the same thing, but he says it in, he uses very all those jargon. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
kind of, it bounces on your head. But
Right.
you just said the same thing, exactly what he says in a very simplistic way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I try to bring it to something that's not so scientific and technical. I can go into that conversation too, but I would end up putting everybody to sleep doing that. Because I had studied things like the Abraham Hicks series of courses, and well, not courses, but her Asking It Is Given books, as between Esther and Jerry Hicks. I've seen probably 2,000 hours worth of their videos just from
Wow.
watching their stuff over the last few years. And in seeing that, and then entering into this experience of mindfulness, I saw the connection between all of that. And it is
Mm.
just relaxing. A lot of times that's all you have to do. And in this, you learn to pivot, meaning that you see something that you may not like, or you see something that you have a negative feeling about it. And then you ask yourself, how would you rather like to feel? And then you turn that around and point yourself in the direction of that which you see.
Okay.
And then when you come into those calm spaces, that just comes to you so naturally. And that's why I've had those experiences with like winning some money from time to time. It's when I turn this off and then I'm following what's going on in here. And it just opens up so simply. And it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. But it's a beautiful experience, and it's something that you learn as you go through all of this.
Amazing. You know what? I just had a bulb on moment right now.
Okay.
Seriously, when you said about when you have those resistances, just you pivot to what would you like to see? What's the feeling that you'd like to have? And just feel that thought.
Exactly.
That was amazing. And you don't have to do anything too much. You just sit back and relax. This was a bulb on moment. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I think I should even take some coaching from you as well.
Oh, I accept. but you know what it is? It's so often we spend way too much time. We'll look at a situation or we'll see what's going on with certain people, and we put in all this judgment and resistance and criticism. And even at times that might feel like a fun thing to do, because the ego and the mind gets trapped in that thing about wanting to fight everybody and this kind of thing. But what we don't realize is we cause ourselves so much more harm than good. But when we can turn this off and just relax into all of this, amazing things happen. I had shared this with the interview that I had with Breathe with Sudha. Was this, my God, I can't even begin to describe what an amazing woman she is. And there was a period of time where I was going through a lot of stress, crazy things. I was crying uncontrollably, just weird stuff going on. And it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm standing under a series of trees. The sun hasn't even risen yet. And I'm actually talking to God. I'm saying, give me something to help me, because I don't know what to do. And it was a point of surrender for me. And it was that very same day, a couple hours later, I just happened to be on YouTube, and the Breathe with Sudha video started popping up. I was like, this is really interesting. And so I'm watching her videos, and I get the sense of this incredible calm from her. And it's like, as she speaks, her whole appearance just lights up. And it's like, who is this woman, right? And so I reached out to her on Facebook, and my intention was to support her in some kind of way, because it's kind of like what I like doing. I become a cheerleader for other people. But in the middle of our conversation, she asked me, she said, do you need coaching? I said, yeah, like that. And so we ended up having about 12 or 13 sessions in Zoom calls. And it was such a calming experience. And I learned the value of that. And it's in a sense of allowing your breath to guide you. And it's almost like your breath draws you forward and kind of points you into the direction of things that would be of most benefit to you. And being in that experience is what has opened up this feeling about wanting to be a coach. And it's not even to the point to trying to make money or all that. The money is going to come.
Money will come. Money will come. And
exactly.
When you give the service, money is a byproduct of that service. Simple.
Yeah,
you don't even have to change it.
Right, because it's just energy. It's just an exchange of energy.
Yeah, it's just energy. Exactly. It's an exchange of energy. True.
Yeah. But I feel so drawn to this. And I even had a conversation with a young woman yesterday who's in one of the Telegram groups. I'm an accountability partner with a group of people. This is through Kartika's Accelerated Abundance Program. And what's so funny about this is I was asked to be an accountability partner. And this is the first time I ever created a Telegram page for that. And so the first thing that happened was I was surprised by the people who joined. was like, I don't even know you. Why do you think I would be a good match? And it's like you attract these amazing, amazing people. And what I discovered is the majority of them are coaches.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a conversation with one of them yesterday, this beautiful woman. She does emotional healing, energy healing work.
Okay.
And so her and I had a talk, and we were only going to talk for 20 minutes. I think we were on the call for about an hour and a half. I was really surprised.
Okay.
And so the sharing that we did was so amazing. And she even told me that she sees me not so much doing one-on-one. She said, you can do one-on-one, that's fine. But she sees me more as a speaker in front of a group. And I was like, okay. So
that's interesting.
yeah, so it's not a perception that I had for this, but I'm also learning to be open to it and just let it happen and see where it takes you.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
it's fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my God, this is amazing. Just hearing you, I'm like, wow, you just spoke exactly what those high level people, all Eckhart, Abraham Hicks, everyone, they speak in, sometimes I just don't understand, but you just deconstructed the whole thing in very simple way.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to help. But see, now here's the interesting thing. And you may not be aware of this. Being in this conversation with you inspired that out of me.
You know what? When you were speaking all this, I didn't feel like it was Leroy speaking. I felt something else was speaking through you, like as though you are like a vessel and something is speaking through you. It just flew. It was just flowing. The thoughts were just flowing through you. Exactly. I could just feel that.
Yeah.
It was something you're thinking of what words I'm going to use. No, it was just those your experiences. It was like just a flow. Amazing. And I'm seeing this live. Oh my God.
and in all fairness and all honesty, it's because of the connection we make with others. I would not have been able to do this had I not met you, Supriya. I would not have been able to do this.
I'm honored.
Yeah, seriously, because there's a real interesting intuitive part to all of this that I cannot explain logically. I can't even put it down in a book or anything like that because it's a feeling, energy-based kind of thing. And every time I interact with anyone, and especially because I pick up on people's positive energy very, very quickly. And so this exchange you and I are doing, I'm glad that the words that I'm offering you is giving you some light and some support.
So much so.
Yeah. But it's also happening because I'm with you right now. And it is this shared energy for sure. Yeah.
And also probably because I'm also receptive to what you're saying. I'm not, it's so good.
Yeah,
exactly. Amazing. My goodness.
Yeah, even Sudha told me that it's about the receptivity of the other person you're interacting with. And whether they're open to it. And I get it. People will come to this channel and it's like, what's this guy talking about? And that's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's fine. Yeah,
you don't have to get it you don't have to necessarily really get it. But once they keep coming again and again, then they will start making the connection.
Yeah.
And like they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you might actually you will actually attract the right people into your channel. That's also there. Not everyone are going to be drawn to you. Yeah, like we say, we can't be everyone's cup of tea. It's fine, but your right audience will be drawn to you. It will happen.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, even this idea of inviting people to my channel to do these chats, I would have not have done this a year ago. I would have been too scared. I would have said, I'm not doing that. What are we going to talk about? But I find that this just opens up on its own. And
yes, I can see a lot of changes in you, Leroy. How you were a couple of months back, and now I'm seeing huge changes in you. It's all positive. It's fantastic. That's why I'm so glad that you're doing this. That's why when you asked me if I would be open to a conversation, and not like a really interview, but like a conversation on Zoom,
Exactly.
I readily said yes, because I know your journey. I know how, from where to where you've come, and you've just blossomed. You've
Yeah.
allowed yourself to blossom. That's also there. You've not
That's what
put
it
those
is.
resistances, like you said, no, putting that thought, a logical thinking, and the ego coming in the way of resistance. You didn't allow that. You just
Mhm.
allowed the answers to come. You opened yourself up for the answers to come, and you just, I can see it right in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
You're just blossoming. You should you should get into this coaching.
Yeah,
You help
it's
a lot more people. Yeah.
exactly. It's something I'm harnessing as it goes. It's so funny because a conversation I had with Kartika many months back, because we struggle with the living freedom concepts, with mindfulness and stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes the concepts are difficult to understand. I get it when people keep asking the same question again and again and again.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
group.
yeah. And I know at times she gets tired of it, but she's
Yeah.
so gracious to still
Yeah.
be open to that. But she said something to me that was really, really interesting. She says, Leroy, you got this. Relax. Stop judging yourself. Stop beating yourself over the head over this. Just take it easy. Be calm about all of this. Everything's going to unfold for you perfectly. So there's nothing for you to fix or even to try to figure out. That's all going to come to you, as you open yourself up to it. And then even Sudha had told me, she says, continue to shine your light. That's all you have to do. Just shine your light, whatever that light is, whatever that gift or talent that's within you. Just share that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you into this conversation, was because I so love the idea of the empowered parenting, because you are sharing your talents and your gifts. And I'm sure people are lighting up to what it is that you share. And I love your webpage. I went to look through it the other day, and I saw how you have the podcast and everything like that. It's like, I'm going to get to the point where I do that. But yeah, it's really, really good. It really, really is.
So much. Yes, even I'm also trying to do my bit, like to genuinely help people, to genuinely empower people there, because nothing is the best. The best power is within ourselves, right?
Exactly.
Power, each of us lies within us. That's why I put the term empower.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
I so love this conversation, Leroy. It's amazing.
I do too. I for those who don't know, Supriya and I actually had recorded one a couple of days ago, and it was fine. It was good. It was wonderful, but it felt like it was just lacking a little bit of something. And so Supriya graciously agreed to do this again with me, which I'm so very thankful for. And I think the energy has come across for both of us even more. I'm noticing even with you in this conversation, you're a lot more relaxed. When you and I started talking, I could tell you were just a little bit nervous, and that's okay. We're human. We go through that.
Yes.
But
Exactly.
your whole energy changed. Even the light around you has changed. It's softer, it's calmer, it's more at ease. Yeah, I pay attention.
Yes, you do. And yes, I would want to, each time if I have some questions, I'm going to reach out to you in terms of what you said, because that's still ringing in my ears, what you said about allowing and all those things. That's something I would definitely want to again reach out to you on that.
Of course.
I think I'm learning from you on that, because you are making it so simple, a very abstract concept. You're making it very simple. Mm-hmm. And it's just flowing. I'm like, okay, I think I'll reach out to him again for this.
Yeah, and you know what that is? That's actually very natural to all of us. And that's the thing that many people don't understand. It's fine to go get as many coaches as you can, take as many courses as you want. Whatever inspires you, do that. I mean, my dear friend who lives in New York, who's an accountability partner since the beginning of 2020, she went through the Joe Dispenza retreat, where they went to a tropical location. They were there for a week. I mean, the retreat itself is expensive. It's like $10,000 or something like that. And she got a lot from that. And some of it is a little bit hard to work through because it is kind of a different level of energy work, because they do a lot of meditation. I mean, they'll sit and meditate for the entire day, which is a pretty amazing thing by itself. But the point I'm trying to make here is that all of this is actually very, very natural to us. And if we can just allow ourselves to relax and not let, and again, this goes back to having the mind kind of overtake us, because we'll look at world situations, we'll look at conversations, we want to argue about everything, trying to make our point. There's no point to be made. It's just living and being in those present moments, because in your present moment is where all your power is. It's where all your joy is. It's where all your bliss is, because that's who you were meant to be. We were never meant to live in the past. We were never meant to worry about the future. And we do that, sure, because we're human and there are things we're working through. But our base energy, our joy of who we truly are, is in those present moments. And when you can enter into those spaces of calm, and it's just that simple. It might take a few steps to get there, but it's okay.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So good, so good.
So much.
I might actually, again, look at this recording, and I would like to go back to that place where you said all those things. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. This whole thing won't be edited. I'm just going to put it up on YouTube just as it is.
Just put it up, yeah. And I'll be definitely looking at that section where you spoke that. I would be looking at it. It's really nice.
Okay, absolutely. Maybe I should really look at that myself as well. Have that become part of my course, right?
I was like, right in front of my eyes. It's all just coming like a flow. It's like something else is speaking through you. Because I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you know that's really interesting too, because I had a one-on-one conversation with a gentleman who reached out to me for coaching services. And this is my very first client, and my only client actually, but that's okay. I'm working towards that. But what was so interesting—
your client base is going to increase, of course.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, but what was so interesting about that, because he came to me because he felt he had issues with self-love. This is a gentleman who's in one of our groups. I won't share his name because he wanted me to keep that private. But what it was is as we spoke, and I had no idea if I was going to be able to help him. I just shared with whatever it was I knew how to share. And after our talk, as our talk began to wind down, he says, first of all, he was so very happy to have had this conversation with me. And he says, as I spoke, he says, it's like the whole room started to light up. He says he saw the color of my hands change to red as we're talking. I'm not paying attention to any of this, right? I'm just sharing with him. And it did help him. It brought him into a space of calm and gave him some ideas as to how to proceed with his business, because he's an entrepreneur. And he was trying to get some clarity on having things work out for him. And the conversation was so joyful. And actually, this is the first time I've ever interacted with a gentleman. Usually a lot of my clients are women through the volunteer service through Synchroshakti Academy. And I had asked, because I've had one-on-one coaching with Kailyn Bowman, who's also a coach on YouTube. And I asked her about that. It's like, is that something I should be concerned of or worried? And she says, no, you're just tapping into the energy that you work through. And if the majority of your clients are women, that's fine. Whoever comes into your experience, it's fine, it's perfect. She said, don't worry about it. Just do it. Just forget about it, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, to be honest.
Amazing. Yeah. It was a fantastic conversation, I really enjoyed it.
Thank
so
you.
Much of depth, so much of insights I got.
Okay. Good. I'm glad to share. And I always receive a lot of insights from you. And I look forward to the day when I can come out to the location where you live at. Love to meet your family.
Of course, you're most welcome. Of course, come
Okay.
over.
Okay. I know my wife's not too crazy about going. I mentioned to you before, and it's not because of the culture or anything like that. She's just not comfortable flying overseas. It's such a
Yeah,
long
some
flight.
people are not very comfortable traveling long distance. No, it's like 22 hours by flight.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, I can sit there and meditate the whole time and it'll be fine. So it's okay. Supriya, is there anything else you'd like to share before we end our call here?
I think it was most amazing. I must say it's been a long time since I had some stimulating and some conversations which also helped me to reflect on myself. This is one such conversation where I was reflecting on myself. I was getting a lot of insights, a lot of golden nuggets. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to talk this, that, this about myself. And finally, I was learning a lot of things from you as well. It was amazing.
Okay.
It was like a two-way conversation. It was a fantastic flow, I thought, that happened between us. And yeah, your energy is fabulous and you should go ahead. Yeah, with your coaching and whatever you have, your insights that you have got, you should share it with the world. The world also needs that. Yeah. Like every coach, like see, for example, we learn from Kartika. Now we will have our own way of looking at it and we'll add our own flavor to it and we will present to the world that way, right? Exactly. That's the way you have learned you've got some golden nuggets from Kartika, some learnings from her, some insights from her. Same way you've got from other coaches like Breathe with Sudha and so many other coaches that you have taken. And then you bring out your understanding in what you have understood from you're actually putting it all together and adding your flavor to it, and from your understanding you're putting it out to the world, right? In your way, whatever you're bringing you into this,
right?
Your teaching has you into the Leroy into that, and that you should put forth to the world.
Absolutely. And it comes from personal experience too. It's not just the books that I've read and anything like that.
Yes, from the personal experience, your insights that you've got. Exactly.
Yeah, one of the things that I so appreciate about everyone that I have met in the groups, there's a sense of family, there's a sense of love, there's a sense of care, and I'm so taken by everyone there. There's a young woman who's getting married. She's I think she was in Living in Freedom. I think Kartika interviewed her. Simran is her first name. I can't pronounce her last name. She's the one that did aerial aerobics.
Right. I know. She did
that. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well,
how did she do that?
She's doing well. She's getting married. She's going to have her wedding in Malaysia in July. She's invited me to come. I told her, I don't know how this is going to work. She said, don't worry about it. Put the intention out there and I'll see you in July. I was like, okay. So,
that's it.
And it just flows like that. And that's how these experiences have been happening for me and for others that I have interacted with. I've seen this opening with other people, and it's a joyful thing. It truly is.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
Great, Leroy. Continue the good work that you're doing, seriously. And you will be changing so many people's lives, as much as your life also will be changing. When you do that, your life also will be changing and getting even more beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so don't go anywhere. I just want to talk to the audience for a hot minute. Please understand that everything that I share on this channel is to try to uplift others, to try to lighten their spirits, to try to offer some kind of inspiration that would be of help. I hold you in love, care, and compassion always. You would definitely see me again. And as always, namaste. Bye-bye.